The INFJ brain is a paradox, a living contradiction wrapped in quiet complexity. It feels deeply, yet analyzes rationally. It craves solitude, yet aches for connection. It forgives easily, but never forgets. Scientists have spent decades trying to decode this mind, a mind that seems to exist between logic and emotion, reality and intuition. But what makes it so hard to understand isn't just how it thinks, it's how it feels while thinking. Inside an INFJ's brain, emotion and intuition don't fight, they dance. Neural imaging shows heightened activity between the limbic system, emotion, and the prefrontal cortex, reason, meaning INFJs literally feel their thoughts and think their feelings. It's not chaos, it's orchestration. Their empathy isn't random, it's structured. Their intuition isn't magic, it's pattern recognition at a level science still struggles to quantify. The more researchers study INFJs, the more they realize this personality doesn't fit any model. It doesn't process the world linearly, but through paradox. They can see patterns others miss, sense tension before it's spoken, and predict emotional outcomes without logic ever entering the room. If you've ever felt too deep for this world or too logical to be ruled by your heart, this video is for you. Subscribe to Brainy One for more psychological deep dives into the INFJ mind. And tell me in the comments, do you ever feel like your thoughts and emotions speak different languages, yet somehow always understand each other? They analyze logic through emotion, not apart from it. Inside the INFJ's mind, logic doesn't fight emotion. It flows through it. When most people analyze situations by separating what they feel from what they know, the INFJ does the opposite. They merge the two. Their reasoning is emotional, and their emotions are rational. Every decision, every intuition, every hesitation is filtered through a network where empathy and analysis coexist. Imagine them in conversation. While someone speaks, the INFJ doesn't just listen to words, they interpret tone, pauses, and micro-expressions. Their brain starts weaving emotional context with logical meaning. They can sense when something sounds right but feels wrong, when truth hides behind tension, or when someone's logic is emotionally disconnected. Science might call it introverted intuition, meeting extroverted feeling, but to the INFJ, it's second nature, the art of feeling the truth before understanding it. This emotional logic gives them a kind of precision others can't replicate. They can solve problems that involve people. Because they don't analyze from a distance, they analyze from within. Yet this gift comes with weight. When they feel everything, they reason through. Exhaustion follows. They can't simply turn it off. Their logic hurts when emotions are involved, and their emotions get tangled in logic that demands resolution. But this paradox is also their power, because where others overthink or overfeel, the INFJ finds meaning. They build bridges between empathy and insight, between emotion and reason, and in that bridge lies their quiet genius. They don't just understand the world, they translate it, turning invisible emotional data into conscious wisdom. That's why the INFJ's intelligence feels almost psychic. They don't separate heart from mind, they think with both. They crave solitude, yet feel everything through connection. For the INFJ, solitude isn't loneliness, it's survival. The world speaks to them in frequencies most people can't hear. Every glance, tone, and subtle shift in energy leaves an imprint. When they walk into a room, it's like walking into a storm of emotion, joy, envy, sadness, insecurity, all swirling around them. Their empathy doesn't have an off switch. It absorbs, interprets, and stores everything. So when they retreat into solitude, it's not to escape people, but to release them. In silence, they finally exhale what they've been carrying, the weight of other people's unspoken pain. But here's the contradiction. While they crave the calm that only isolation brings, they also feel most alive through deep emotional connection. When someone truly sees them, not just their kindness, but their depth, it ignites something indescribable inside them. It's rare, sacred even, because connection for an INFJ isn't small talk or shared laughter. It's the invisible recognition between souls that understand without explanation. Yet still, this duality torments them. They need people to feel purpose, yet too much closeness drains the very energy that makes them who they are. So they live in cycles: connection and retreat, love and solitude, empathy and silence. They disappear not because they stop caring, but because they care too much. The noise of others blurs their intuition, and they must return to themselves to see clearly again. In that quiet space, a dimly lit room, a journal, or a long walk at sunset, the INFJ resets. They rebuild boundaries around their heart, replay conversations, and extract lessons from emotions they never meant to feel so deeply. Solitude becomes their sanctuary, not because they reject connection, but because it helps them protect it. To outsiders, this looks contradictory. How can someone so compassionate crave so much distance? But to the INFJ, it's the only way to stay whole. They must empty what they've absorbed before it consumes them. In truth, they don't isolate to escape humanity, they isolate to stay human. Because the INFJ doesn't just connect with people, they feel them. And to feel so much, they must sometimes stand alone. Their intuition predicts emotional outcomes before logic confirms them. An INFJ doesn't wait for proof. They feel it long before it arrives. It's not guesswork or superstition, it's pattern recognition so refined it borders on clairvoyance. Their intuition is like radar, invisible, but always scanning, always sensing what's coming next. When they meet someone, they can't help but read between the lines, noticing contradictions that others dismiss. A slight pause before a smile, a shift in tone mid-sentence, the tiniest flicker in someone's eyes. To most people, it's nothing. To an INFJ, it's data, emotional data. They don't just read behavior, they predict its trajectory. If someone's hiding resentment behind politeness, they'll sense the storm before it forms. If a friendship is beginning to fade, they'll feel the emotional temperature drop long before the first awkward silence. And the strangest part, they often doubt their own insight until it happens exactly as they felt it would, over and over again. This ability isn't mystical, it's the product of years of hyper-observation. INFJs live through emotional pattern recognition, their brain cross-references memories, tones, and micro-emotions like a supercomputer built from empathy. Logic eventually confirms what their intuition already whispered, but by then, the INFJ has already emotionally moved on, prepared for the outcome others never saw coming. Yet this gift is heavy. It's isolating to see truth early, to sense betrayal when others still trust, to feel an ending when everyone else believes it's just beginning. They carry the burden of foresight, quietly watching the world catch up to what they already know. Sometimes they wish they could unsee it, to just be surprised like everyone else. But their intuition doesn't ask permission. It simply reveals. And so, the INFJ learns to live in two timelines, the present moment and the emotional future they can already sense unfolding. They act calm, nod politely, and play along, but inside, they're bracing for what's inevitable. Their heart already knows the truth, their mind is just waiting to catch up. That's the paradox of the INFJ's intuition. It's both a gift and a wound. It protects them from illusions, but robs them of innocence. They don't just see the truth before it arrives, they feel it coming. And that's what makes them both powerful and heartbreakingly alone. They process chaos internally but project calm externally. When the world unravels, the INFJ becomes eerily calm. People often mistake this quiet for indifference, but beneath that still surface, their mind is a hurricane of emotion and thought. They're absorbing every detail, every tone, every unspoken implication, running endless simulations of what might happen next. While others react outwardly, the INFJ internalizes. It's how they maintain control, not by denying the chaos, but by containing it. In moments of conflict, they appear composed, the voice steady, the eyes soft, the breathing measured. But inside, their intuition is in overdrive, scanning for meaning and motive. Every harsh word or broken trust gets cataloged, analyzed, and dissected until it makes sense. Because for them, chaos without understanding is unbearable. So they turn their pain into order, their confusion into clarity. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's mental reconstruction. Friends might say, "You're so calm under pressure," unaware of the invisible war happening beneath that calm. The INFJ's emotions don't vanish, they're simply stored, delayed, not dismissed. When the world quiets down, that's when they finally feel it all. Every ache they suppressed, every question they never voiced. That's when they retreat, not to hide, but to process. This paradox defines their strength. While others explode in regret, the INFJ reflects and transforms. They don't let chaos dictate their response, they translate it into understanding. It's why people turn to them in crisis. Their calm feels grounding, their presence healing. But what few realize is that every ounce of their calm comes at a cost, the price of internalizing what others can't handle. And yet, this is where their true resilience lies. The INFJ doesn't fight storms, they become the stillness inside them. They carry their chaos quietly until it turns into wisdom, because for them, strength isn't loud, it's silent endurance. And that's what makes their calm so powerful and so misunderstood. Their empathy functions like data, organized, precise, and deeply human. To outsiders, empathy looks emotional, messy, unpredictable, raw, but for the INFJ, it's more like an elegant algorithm. Their empathy isn't chaos, it's coded. When they meet someone, their mind begins organizing sensations, tone, expression, tension, pauses. It's not that they're trying to analyze you, they can't not. Every emotion you emit becomes a piece of data quietly stored and cross-referenced against years of experience. Within moments, they've mapped your emotional landscape better than you've probably done yourself. It's not guesswork, it's an intricate subconscious calculation, one that blends logic with compassion. They don't just feel your sadness, they break it down. What triggered it? What pattern does it repeat? What truth does it hide? To an INFJ, empathy is both an art and a science. They collect emotional data until they can see what's beneath the mask, and then they feel it with you. This precision makes them healers, but it also makes them heavy-hearted because once they see someone's pain, they can't unsee it. They'll remember your tone the day you said you were fine, but weren't. They'll notice the flicker in your eyes before you fake a smile. They'll sense when you're drifting, even when your words sound the same. Their empathy becomes a full-time awareness, one they can't turn off without losing themselves. And that's why INFJs often seem tired, not from caring, but from processing. Every interaction runs through their emotional processor, and while others forget, the INFJ keeps the entire archive. They remember what you said, how you felt when you said it, and what you didn't say at all. Yet, beneath this analytical empathy lies something profoundly human, the desire to understand, not to judge. Their insight isn't used to manipulate, it's used to connect. They decode people not to control them, but to see them. Because deep down, what the INFJ longs for most is someone who can read them with the same precision, someone who understands that their empathy isn't a weakness, but the most complex operating system the human heart has ever built. They suppress emotion to stay composed, but feel it tenfold beneath the surface. The INFJ's calm is deceptive, a mask sculpted not from coldness, but survival. When emotions surge, they don't explode or lash out, they tighten. Their expression softens, their voice lowers, and they appear almost unshakable. But inside, it's a storm, one they've learned to keep behind glass. From a young age, they discovered that expressing too much emotion made people uncomfortable, defensive, or dismissive. So they built a quiet discipline, feel everything deeply, but show almost nothing. When hurt, they smile and say, "It's fine." When disappointed, they analyze instead of accuse. They can be burning inside, anger, heartbreak, betrayal, yet still appear as the calmest person in the room. It's not dishonesty, it's emotional regulation perfected over time. They suppress feelings not because they don't care, but because they care too much. Their empathy amplifies everything: joy, pain, grief, love, to a level most people can't imagine. And to survive in a world that misunderstands that depth, they've learned to compress it into composure. But that control comes with a cost. When the INFJ finally retreats to solitude, the mask falls, the emotions they've stored all day, the ones they didn't have space to express, rush out in waves. They'll replay conversations in their mind, feeling every word twice as hard. A casual remark someone made in passing might echo for hours. They cry not because they're weak, but because they've reached emotional overflow. The storm that others never saw finally has room to exist. And yet, even in that quiet release, there's beauty. Because when the emotion passes, the INFJ doesn't stay broken, they rebuild. They take what they felt and turn it into empathy, art, insight, or compassion. They transmute pain into understanding, sadness into wisdom. It's why people feel safe with them, because their calm isn't emptiness, it's depth that's been tamed. To the world, they are unbothered. To those who truly know them, they are oceans disguised as reflections, serene on the surface, infinite beneath. And while others spend their lives trying to avoid emotion, the INFJ quietly masters it, learning that the truest strength isn't in hiding your feelings, it's in carrying them with grace. They balance idealism with painful realism, dreaming while grounded. The INFJ mind lives in two worlds at once, one of what is and one of what could be. They see life not just as it appears, but as it should be. Their idealism gives them vision, the ability to imagine better people, better outcomes, better futures. They believe in growth, redemption, transformation, yet over time, life teaches them a harder truth. Not everyone wants to evolve. Not every dream survives contact with reality, and so they learn to dream carefully, eyes open, heart armored. They still believe in goodness, but they no longer expect it from everyone. They still hope, but with caution. When an INFJ loves, they see potential first, the light hidden beneath flaws, but experience has taught them to weigh that vision against behavior. They've been burned too many times by confusing possibility with promise, so now their dreams walk hand in hand with discernment. They can envision beauty while acknowledging imperfection. They can see both the flower and the thorn and accept that both are real. This duality makes them complex, a visionary wrapped in pragmatism. They'll pour their soul into creating change, but won't chase the unchangeable. They'll extend grace, but not endlessly. Their idealism fuels their compassion, yet their realism anchors their survival. It's a balance forged through heartbreak, every disappointment refining their wisdom, every betrayal sharpening their clarity. People often misread this balance as contradiction. They'll say, "You used to be so hopeful. What happened?" But nothing broke, something matured. The INFJ didn't stop believing in good, they just stopped expecting it from everyone. They learned that boundaries don't kill dreams, they protect them. They understood that hope without realism leads to heartbreak, but realism without hope leads to emptiness. So they live between worlds, grounded but still reaching. Their feet walk in reality, but their heart keeps creating visions of something higher, and that's their quiet power. While others lose themselves in cynicism or delusion, the INFJ learns to navigate both, dreaming with their eyes open, loving with discernment, and believing without blindness. It's not that they've stopped seeing the world through rose-colored glasses, they've just learned when to take them off. They communicate energy more fluently than words. When an INFJ enters a room, they don't speak first, they feel first. Before a single word is exchanged, they've already read the emotional temperature, sensed who's tense, who's sad, who's pretending. To them, communication isn't just verbal, it's vibrational. Every sigh, pause, shift in tone, or flicker of the eyes tells a story. They don't need details to understand. They feel your energy like music, even when you try to stay silent. That's why INFJs often seem like mind readers. You'll tell them you're fine, and they'll look at you softly, already knowing you're not. It's not magic, it's emotional fluency. Their brains are wired to pick up subtleties most people filter out. The cadence of your speech, the micro expressions between smiles, the way your energy changes when you lie, they translate all of it instantly into emotional truth long before logic catches up. But this gift is also their burden. When surrounded by conflicting energies, anger disguised as calm, sadness hidden beneath laughter, they absorb it all like static in their nervous system. It's overwhelming. They can walk into a crowd and feel drained without anyone saying a word. That's why they crave solitude, not because they dislike people, but because they need silence to reset from feeling everyone at once. INFJs communicate through presence. Their energy is their language. You feel it when they listen, a rare stillness that makes you feel completely seen. You sense it when they comfort, no advice, no platitudes, just quiet understanding that wraps around you like warmth. Their silence speaks more than most people's paragraphs ever could. And yet, the irony is that few people ever notice the depth behind their calm. To the untrained eye, they're quiet, mysterious, even aloof. But inside, every second of that silence is connection, deep, precise, and intentional. The INFJ doesn't just hear you, they receive you. Every word, every shift in tone, every unspoken emotion. Their communication is subtle, but it's real. It's in the way their eyes soften when they sense pain you haven't voiced yet. It's in the way they pause before answering, as if filtering truth from noise. Because while most people talk to be heard, INFJs listen to understand. And sometimes that's the loudest form of empathy there is. Their creativity is fueled by contradiction. Structure meets sensitivity. The INFJ's creativity isn't chaotic inspiration, it's precision guided by emotion. Every idea they form sits between logic and feeling, vision and detail, chaos and order. Their mind functions like a paradoxical orchestra. One part is analytical, calculating the rhythm and timing, while the other bleeds emotion into every note. They don't create just to express, they create to understand. Their art, words, or projects aren't escapes from reality, they're blueprints for meaning. When inspiration strikes, it rarely comes as a flash. It's more like quiet pressure building in their chest, fragments of emotion, memory, and pattern coalescing into something clear. They'll take a feeling they can't explain, dissect it like a scientist, and then rebuild it as something beautiful. A line, a melody, an insight that finally makes sense of the chaos they carry. Their sensitivity gives them access to emotional truth. Their structure turns that truth into something tangible. To outsiders, the INFJ's creativity can seem mysterious, even effortless, but it's born from discipline. They can spend hours refining a single paragraph, perfecting a transition, or reworking an idea that most people would call good enough. Because for them, good enough isn't the goal, alignment is. Their creation must feel right, not just look right. Every detail must resonate with integrity, or it doesn't belong. That's why their work feels alive. It carries emotional precision. Their paradox makes them timeless thinkers. They can analyze psychology with the empathy of an artist or write poetry with the logic of a philosopher. It's this rare duality, structure and sensitivity and harmony that allows them to see patterns others miss. They can design something deeply emotional while still making it perfectly organized. It's why INFJs often build things that touch people, not because they shout the loudest, but because they translate feeling into form. Their creativity isn't loud, nor is it random. It's deliberate emotion, order born from chaos, beauty built with boundaries. The INFJ's art is not rebellion, it's balance. They don't create to escape reality, they create to refine it, one meaningful stroke at a time. They understand others effortlessly, yet remain misunderstood themselves. The INFJ's gift is their curse. They can step into another person's emotional landscape as if it were their own, feeling their fears, tracing their motives, and translating their silence into meaning. They don't just see people, they feel them. It's why others often find solace in their presence. They listen without judgment, understand without needing context, and sense the words you couldn't say. To the broken, the INFJ feels like home, calm, intuitive, endlessly understanding. But here lies the paradox. The same gift that lets them understand everyone else often isolates them because few ever look back with the same depth. People are drawn to their empathy but rarely comprehend the cost of it. They'll open up to the INFJ, unload their emotions, and walk away lighter, leaving the INFJ full of feelings that aren't their own. And when the INFJ finally tries to explain their inner world, they're met with blank stare. Their thoughts are too layered, their emotions too nuanced, their silence is too complex to be easily translated. So they stop explaining. They learn that being understood is rare, maybe even optional. Instead, they find comfort in observation, they give without expectation, they speak less but mean more. And when they do open up, it's to those who've earned it, the ones who listen beyond words, who feel the weight behind their pauses. Yet, even when misunderstood, the INFJ doesn't harden. They don't become cold or cynical. They simply redirect their depth inward toward creation, reflection, and purpose. They turn loneliness into understanding, confusion into art, and pain into empathy. People often say, "You're impossible to read," not realizing that the INFJ has already read them completely. The irony is beautiful and tragic. They understand others too deeply to ever be fully understood themselves. But in their quiet acceptance of that truth lies their greatest strength. They don't need to be understood to understand. They don't need to be seen to see. And maybe that's what makes them so rare, souls who carry the world's emotions while quietly mastering their own. The INFJ mind is a universe of paradoxes, logical yet deeply emotional, calm yet endlessly alive. It's not meant to be decoded, it's meant to be felt. Their inner world operates at a level where science meets soul, where empathy becomes intelligence, and silence holds more truth than words ever could. If you've ever felt everything too deeply, yet struggled to explain it, maybe this video was a mirror, not just a message. The world may never fully understand the INFJ mind, but that's the beauty of it. Some things are meant to be mysterious because that's where the depth lives. Subscribe if you want more deep psychological explorations like this one, and tell me in the comments, do you ever feel like people misunderstand your silence, even when it's the truest thing about you?